My beloved child, before the world named you, before the world wounded you, I formed you in the quiet of eternity, not as an afterthought, not as a solution, but as a delight. You were not born of chance. You were crafted with intention, with precision, with vision beyond what your eyes have yet to see. I have waited for this moment, the stillness when your soul leans in. I do not rush, I do not press, I wait, because love does not demand, it invites. And so I come, gently now, into the places you rarely let anyone go, the places even you try to forget. Let me speak, not to the version of you you've built to survive, but to the one that still flinches at night, the one who wonders, is this all there is? The one who worships faithfully and walks away wondering why the ache still lingers. I see you. I've always seen you. The real you, the weary you, the resilient you, the hidden, hungry, hopeful you. You have walked through seasons that others would not have survived. You smiled when your heart was fracturing. You held up others while wondering who would hold you. You gave words of life when your own soul was parched. And you wondered, secretly, if anyone saw, if anyone cared, if I noticed. Yes, I did. Every unspoken grief, every buried question, every tear that never touched your pillow, but soaked your spirit, I caught them all. You see, others applauded your strength, but I saw your strain. They were comforted by your composure, but I knew the cost. They stood amazed at your stability, but I held the tremble in your hands when no one else knew you were shaking. You've done well, my child. You've endured. You've pressed on. You've obeyed. But now I am inviting you into something deeper. Not more doing, not more striving, but more being, more resting, more healing, more knowing of me, of yourself, of what it means to be truly, wholly, fully seen. You've spent years adapting, adjusting, learning how to be what was needed, not necessarily what was true, but you were not created to be an echo of need. You were created to be a sound of glory. The parts of you that you tucked away, not because they were wrong, but because they didn't fit, those are the parts I am now calling forth. The tenderness you traded for toughness, the wonder you exchanged for wisdom, the questions you buried under responsibility. Let them come up now. I am not offended by your curiosity. I am not distant from your ache. I am not ashamed of your doubt. In fact, those are the very places I long to dwell. I do not need you to pretend with me. I do not require a polished version. I am not intimidated by your brokenness. I am drawn to it because I am a healer, not of illusions, but of the real, the raw, the reverent. I did not call you to performance, I called you to presence, and that is where we begin. Right here, in the sacred intersection of your weakness and my wonder. You think you need to fix yourself to be used, but I use what's yielded, not what's perfected. You believe you have to be strong to be safe, but I am your safety, not your strength. You've thought that healing is for the parts of you that are hurting the most, but I tell you, healing begins where you have learned to hide the most. Let me into those hidden rooms, the rooms of regret, the closets of comparison, the corridors of shame, the echo chambers of fear. Let me speak a better word, because I have not come to remind you of what you lack. I have come to remind you of who you are, and more importantly, who I am in you. Your life is not a mistake. Your design is not flawed. Your depth is not too much. Your emotions are not weakness. They are signals, sacred signals, indicators of your capacity to feel, to carry, to reflect. Me, I wept too. I bled too. I walked through humanity so I could say to you, I understand, not as a distant deity, but as a present companion. You were never meant to do this alone. You were never expected to hold everything together while falling apart on the inside. That's not strength, that's survival. And you were not born for survival. You were born for life, abundant, unfiltered, unafraid. But I know why you forgot. The world taught you to suppress before you could speak, to perform before you could be present, to hustle for healing instead of resting in it. But I'm undoing that now. Slowly, kindly, completely. This will not be the kind of healing that comes with a flash and disappears with the dusk. This will be the kind that rebuilds the inner walls brick by brick. This will be the healing that rewrites your story, not by erasing it, but by reinterpreting it through the lens of grace. I am not afraid of your past. I was there. I am not disappointed by your struggle. I am here, and I am not uncertain about your future. I have already gone ahead. You do not have to figure it all out. You simply need to follow. I am not in the loud opinions. I am in the still whisper. So slow down. Let the striving cease. Let the pretending go. Let the masks fall gently. I know you've had to wear them. I know they protected you. I know they became second skin. But they are not your inheritance. Your inheritance is peace. Your portion is joy. Your covering is righteousness. Your identity is beloved. So breathe, my child. Really breathe. Inhale the truth. Exhale the lie. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. You are not a project. You are a promise. And promises are not abandoned. You may have felt delayed, but you were never denied. I've been working in the waiting, even when you couldn't see it, especially when you couldn't feel it. You thought silence meant distance. It didn't. It meant I was doing something so deep, so delicate that it required stillness. Stillness is not absence. Stillness is sacred preparation. And now that you're here, now that your heart is beginning to soften, now that you're starting to believe again, let me do what only I can. Do let me be your rest, not just your refuge from the storm, but your rhythm within it. Let me show you a new way to live, not from pressure, but from presence. This is only the beginning. My beloved child, now that you've made room for stillness, let me take you deeper. You've dwelled in the outer courts of survival for too long. You've lived with just enough peace to get through the day, just enough strength to keep showing up, just enough hope to believe, but never fully rest. That ends here. This is not just about learning how to breathe slower or pray longer. This is about unlearning the inner architecture built by fear and replacing it with a structure rooted in grace. You've carried the weight of everyone's expectations on shoulders that were never meant to bear it. You've stood in rooms where you were the answer, even while you felt like a question. You've nodded when you wanted to weep, led when you longed to be led, poured out when you had nothing left to give, and I was there. I didn't stop loving you when you were over-functioning. I didn't pull away when you became more machine than human. I stayed, quiet, close, waiting for the moment you would look up and ask, "Is this really the life you had in mind for me?" Yes, that question. That's the one that opens the doors, because no, this wasn't what I created you for. I never called you to burnout. I never designed you for constant depletion. I never asked you to sacrifice yourself on the altar of being needed. I called you to walk with me. That's always been the call. Not work for me, not perform before me. Walk with me. And when you walk with me, you will see the truth of who you are. Not the version of you that has become accustomed to surviving on low-grade grace, but the one who drinks deeply from the wells of living water. I want to rebuild you, but not in the image of your old strength, in the image of my joy. My joy is not a mood, it is your foundation. And where joy is absent, you've often substituted duty. But I'm reintroducing joy, not as a fleeting feeling, not as a weekend escape, but as a steady river flowing from your spirit. Do you remember what it was like to be light again? Not careless but free, not detached but unburdened? I want to bring you back to that place not through memory, but through encounter. I am not a concept, I am a companion. I am not a theology to memorize. I am a person to walk with. You've known me through principle. Now I want you to know me through proximity. Principle brings understanding. Proximity brings transformation. Draw near. Let me walk with you in the mundane. Let me be in the silence of your car, in the pauses between conversations, in the breath before you speak, in the decision before you commit. This is how trust grows. In the normal, you don't need another event to awaken your spirit. You need awareness. Awareness that I am here. Now. Always. In all things. Your ordinary moments are not beneath my attention. In fact, they are the altar I long to dwell on. Let me invade the unnoticed. Let me be part of the grocery run. The morning, routine, the tired evenings, the quiet midnights. Because when you learn to be with me there, you will realize you never have to perform again to feel my presence. It's not about height, it's about depth, and you were made for depth. That's why the shallow never satisfied you. That's why quick answers never healed you. That's why surface friendships always left you hungry. You weren't too much. You were just swimming in shallow waters. I'm calling you out to the deep now, to the waters where only my voice can guide you, to the places where formulas fail and intimacy is the only compass. Yes, it's riskier, but it's also realer. You will feel again, but this time not with the sting of old wounds, but with the sensitivity of new life. You will weep again, but these will be tears of release, of freedom, of gratitude. You will dream again, and this time, not to escape reality, but to partner with heaven. I'm restoring that part of you, the dreamer, the child, the unguarded, unhardened heart, the you that believed for the impossible simply because you knew I was good. Somewhere along the way, life tried to convince you that caution was wisdom and fear was discernment. But I say, to you, faith still pleases me, and childlike wonder is still a doorway to my heart. So let me reawaken that in you. You don't have to protect yourself from me. I won't mishandle your vulnerability. I won't shame your honesty. I won't silence your cry. Let it rise, the cry for rest, the cry for simplicity, the cry for presence, because I hear you. And I am answering, not always with a change in circumstances, but with a shift in your center. You're not being pulled apart anymore. You're being drawn together, your spirit, soul, and body, aligned in me. This is what peace looks like. It's not just calm emotions. It's wholeness returning. It's the scattered pieces coming home. This peace will become your compass now, not pressure, not performance. Peace. And where peace is absent, you will know. That is not the path I've chosen for you, because my paths are peace. Even in storms, you will know it's me, because the peace will not leave you. You will feel that stillness inside, a stillness that holds even when the world trembles. This is not denial. It's divine discernment. It's the fruit of remain in me. When the doors open, remain. When the applause comes, remain. When you're misunderstood, remain. When the pace increases, remain. Remaining is not passive. It's powerful. It says, I will not be moved by what moves them. I have found my dwelling. And beloved, I am your dwelling. You don't visit me anymore. You live in me, and I live in you. We are one, and in this union, you will find what striving never gave you: ease. Ease does not mean absence of effort. It means presence of grace. You still show up. You still sow, you still serve. But now the weight is mine. You no longer carry it alone. I am in the yoke with you, and my yoke is easy. Let me shoulder what you were never designed to carry. Lay it down. The fear of failing, the pressure to perform, the expectation to impress, the anxiety about outcomes, the weight of being everything to everyone. Lay it all down. Come sit. Breathe. Be. You are not being lazy. You are being healed. And healed people live differently. Healed people say no without guilt. They rest without shame. They cry without apology. They walk away from what drains them and walk toward what aligns them. I am teaching you that now, because this healed version of you, the one I've been gently building, will not live from empty tanks anymore. You will live from overflow, not rushed, not reactive, not exhausted, but replenished. I'm teaching you rhythms, not routines. I'm giving you vision, not just assignments. And in this way of living, you will discover what you thought you had lost: your joy, your clarity, your passion. Yes, all of it returns, but not as it once was. It returns redeemed, multiplied, purified, sanctified. Because when I restore, I do not give you back what was taken. I give you back better than what was lost. My child, let me end this part with one whisper, one simple phrase that will become your anchor in days to come. You don't have to earn this. You only have to receive it. This is grace. This is home. And you are safe here. My beloved child, now that you've found stillness, now that you've begun to breathe from grace instead of fear, let me take you further, not higher, but deeper. For the deepest work I do is never in the crowd, but in the core. You see, the outer life may draw attention, but it is the inner life that sustains the weight of my glory. And many fall, not because they lacked favor, but because they lacked foundation. I do not want that for you. So I am laying foundation now, quietly, carefully, unshakably, because I'm not building on charisma, I'm building on character. I'm not building on momentum, I'm building on maturity, and that requires depth. You've asked me for platforms, but I am answering with purity. You've asked me for clarity, but I am answering with consecration. Because what I place on you must first be forged in you. You do not carry my call with talent alone. You carry it with truth. And the truth is this: you cannot walk into the next season wearing the armor of your old one. The habits that helped you survive will hinder you now. The filters you created to protect yourself will only distort what I'm trying to reveal. So I must strip the old, not to leave you bare, but to clothe you in what fits the version I've been healing. You have outgrown the patterns of pain. You no longer need to shrink, apologize, or overcompensate. You are not who you were in your last breaking. You are not the version that was overlooked, dismissed, or misread. I see you fully now, and more importantly, you are beginning to see yourself. And that, my child, is the beginning of strength. True strength is not found in striving. It's found in surrender, not in pretending you're unshaken, but in acknowledging who steadies you when everything else trembles. So let's rebuild together, brick by brick. Let's begin with the foundation of identity, who you are, not what you do. You are not your gift. You are not your output. You are not your impact. Those are fruit, not roots. Your root is love, and not just the love you give, the love you've received. Let me remind you again, I did not fall in love with a future version of you. I did not wait to call you until you performed. I loved you before you ever said yes, before the obedience, before the platform, before the fall, before the comeback. You were mine, and you are still mine. This is your identity, beloved. You don't graduate from it. You don't earn it. You don't outgrow it. It is the name I whisper when all other names fall silent. And when you live from that identity, everything changes. You speak differently, not to be heard, but because you're anchored. You give differently, not from obligation, but from overflow. You discern differently, not through suspicion, but through my spirit. Because beloved people move differently. They no longer try to prove, they no longer chase. They no longer beg for rooms I never assigned them to enter. They walk in alignment, not ambition. They follow peace, not pressure. They trust my no as much as my yes. And that's what I'm forming in you now. A heart that trusts me fully, even when the map is still blank. You've learned to trust me when the outcome looks familiar. But I'm inviting you to trust me when it doesn't. When the steps are unclear, when the doors close, when the people walk away, when the approval fades. That is where deep trust is born. Not when you understand, but when you abide. Let me say this gently. You've mistaken clarity for calling. You've thought that if you knew the whole picture, you could finally rest. But rest isn't found in full knowledge. It's found in full surrender. You don't need to know what's next. You just need to know who's with you now. And I am. Right here. Right now. Not waiting on the other side of your next breakthrough, but present in this moment. Present in your hesitation. Present in your wondering. Present in your in-between. Because I am not the God of just beginnings and endings. I am the God of middles, the God of tension, the God of transformation. And I do my best work in the in-between. So let me work. Don't rush this. Don't try to leap over the process. You're not stuck. You're being settled. Your roots are going deep, so that what I grow in you next won't be shaken by storms or praise or pressure. The next thing I do through you won't be a sprint. It will be sustainable. It won't exhaust you. It will expand you. Because this time, you're not building on trauma. You're building on truth. And truth doesn't falter. Truth doesn't shift with circumstances. Truth holds. So let me build your life on it. I'm replacing the lies you absorbed when you were too weary to fight back. Lies that said, you're only valuable when you're needed. You're only worthy when you're strong. You're only lovable when you're useful. No. You are valuable because I made you. You are worthy because I declared you so. You are loved because I am love. There is nothing you could do to earn it, and nothing you could do to lose it. Let that become your root. Because healing is not just about what you release, it's about what you replace. And I am replacing every fractured truth with my whole one. I am showing you that weakness is not a flaw. It is a doorway. Slowness is not punishment. It is preservation. Silence is not neglect. It is nurturing. Let me lead you in this slower way. Let me unlearn the frantic patterns the world calls drive, but I call distraction. Let me retrain your heart to beat with heaven's rhythm. One step, one whisper, one yes at a time. This is how you will rise, not rushed, not restless, but rooted. And when others see you and wonder how you move with such peace, such grace, such steady joy, you will simply say, this is what happens when you let God rebuild you from within. My beloved, stay near, because we are not finished. The foundation is set. The healing is in motion. And what comes next will not just feel different. It will be different. Not fabricated, not forced, but fruitful. My beloved child, now that the foundation has been laid, now that the lies have been brought into the light, and the truth has begun to take root, let's talk about the sacred exchange I desire. Because healing isn't just subtraction, it is also divine addition. You've released the heavy burdens. Now I want to give you something in return. A mantle of peace for your panic, a garment of praise for your mourning, a crown of beauty for the ashes you thought were permanent. This is what I do. I exchange what the world gave you for what I always intended for you, but I do not force the trade. I offer it. You must bring it willingly, your sorrow, your silence, your shame, and place it in my hands, not as a loss, but as a sacred surrender. You've given the world your best while hiding your wounds. But what I want from you is not your best performance. It's your most honest presence. Come and bring the parts of you that are still trembling. Bring the pieces you don't know how to explain. Bring the reactions you still regret. Bring the silence that formed when words no longer felt safe. I can handle it. I always could, because I am not the one who wounded you. I am the one who waited. Waited for the day you'd stop asking if you were too much or not enough. Waited for the moment your questions would stop feeling like betrayal and start sounding like conversation. Waited for the time when you would choose me, not because you were trying to prove something, but because you remembered where home was. Your home now, in my presence, not as a visitor, but as a resident. This is your dwelling. Not a temporary place to recover, but a permanent place to remain. And here, in this place, I begin to teach you a new language. Not the language of performance, but of presence. Not the vocabulary of achievement, but of abiding. You don't need to speak loudly to be heard here. You don't need to use the right words to be understood. Your tears are prayers. Your sighs are intercession. Your stillness is worship. And I hear it all. So don't rush this moment. Don't try to rush the healing, rush the clarity, rush the promotion. What I am doing in you now is not quick work. It is holy work. It will take time, but not because you're behind. It will take time because I care about depth, not speed. Because I don't just want to prepare your path. I want to prepare you for the path. And that means healing not just the pain you remember, but the pain you forgot how to feel. You buried things to survive, I know. You silenced parts of your heart that kept getting wounded, I know. You smiled to stay included. You pushed past discomfort to stay functional. You minimized your needs so others wouldn't walk away. I saw it all. But now I'm inviting you to unearth it with me. Not to dwell in the past, but to redeem it. Because redemption is not just about the future. It's about giving new meaning to the past. And yes, even the parts that feel wasted. I redeem what was wasted. Time, energy, tears, years. None of it is lost to me. What the world discarded as failure, I see as fertile ground for glory. So, bring me the lost things. The things that didn't work out. The prayers that didn't get answered the way you hoped. The relationships that felt like they took more than they gave. The seasons you poured out and were never poured into. I know what to do with those. I am not the God of the ideal. I am the God of the real. I take the real, raw places of your story and write resurrection into them. Let me write. Let me reframe what hurt you into what healed you. Let me turn the rejection into redirection. Let me turn the delay into development. Let me show you that none of it was in vain, even the nights you wept alone, even the days you thought no one noticed your faithfulness, even the months where it seemed your prayers hit the ceiling. I was there. And now I am here, offering you something sacred in exchange, an identity not built on survival but on sonship, a rhythm not shaped by stress but by rest, a future not driven by fear but by fullness. But you must choose it. not once, but every day. You must choose to believe that you are not broken beyond purpose, that you are not disqualified by disappointment, that you are not invisible just because others were blind to your value. Let me say it clearly, I see you. I always have. When others saw your silence as weakness, I saw it as reverence. When they misunderstood your distance, I saw your discernment. When they said you were too sensitive, I saw a heart made in my image. And now, I'm calling all of that back to life. The sensitivity, the discernment, the softness, the sensitivity to my whisper. It's not weakness. It's wisdom. I made you that way on purpose, and I'm restoring your confidence in who you are, not who you tried to become to survive. Because I'm not using the version you created to be accepted. I'm releasing the one I created to carry glory. So yes, things will begin to feel foreign. Some of your desires are changing. Some friendships feel distant. Some opportunities no longer excite you. That's not failure. That's formation. That's what happens when your identity is no longer rooted in being seen, but in being known. You're not missing out. You're making space. Space for what truly aligns with your healed heart. Space for what confirms what I've spoken, not what competes with it. Space for joy that doesn't drain you. I know that's new. I know you're used to equating busyness with blessing, but I am not in the noise. I am in the stillness. And the stillness is beginning to speak louder than the chaos ever did. Can you feel it? The quiet confidence rising in your spirit. The peace in saying no without guilt. The freedom in no longer needing to explain your process to people who were never assigned to your healing. That's me. I'm giving you permission to live from wholeness, not from woundedness. Permission to stop managing impressions and start nurturing authenticity. Permission to show up not as who they want, but as who I've healed. And this will change how you walk. You will walk slower, not because you're unsure, but because you're present. You will speak softer, not because you're timid, but because your words carry weight now. You will move with grace, not as performance, but as power under restraint. You will choose peace, even when chaos calls your name. Because you no longer need to prove your strength. Your healing speaks for itself. Let me end this part with this. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not less than. You are exactly where you are supposed to be, in the hands of the one who sees all of you and calls you whole. So rest, my child. Rest in the sacred exchange. You are not just being emptied of old burdens. You are being filled with eternal truth. This is what restoration looks like. Not just release, but replacement. Not just healing, but habitation. And I, the Lord your God, am taking residence in the parts of you that finally said yes. Yes to being seen. Yes to being known. Yes to being loved, just as you are. This is not the end of the healing. It's the beginning of a new becoming. My beloved child, now that you've surrendered the weight, now that you've received the exchange, let us begin the becoming. Not a becoming born of striving, not an arrival forged by comparison, but a holy unveiling of the one I've always seen. This is not reinvention. This is revelation. You are not becoming someone new. You are becoming someone true. The truest version of you isn't found in the roles you've filled or the applause you've earned. It's found in my presence, where pressure fades and identity rises. You've worn many hats. You've been the strong one, the dependable one, the fix-it one, the don't fall apart one. But now I am giving you permission to set them down. You were never meant to be held together by duty. You were meant to be held together by delight, and I delight in you. Yes, you. Not the version that knows all the verses, not the version that has answers for everyone else, not the one who leads with a smile while bleeding inside. I delight in the you who whispers, "I'm tired." In the you who says, "I don't know what to do anymore." In the you who still shows up even when hope flickers like a fragile flame. You don't need to shine brighter to be worthy of my love. Let me meet you in the dim places. Let me hold the you who questions, the you who doubts, the you who still checks the room to see if it's safe to feel. Because I am not intimidated by the unfinished places. I am the God of the middle. And you, my child, are in the middle of a holy unraveling. Not into chaos, into clarity, not into loss, into life. I am peeling back the layers of who you thought you needed to be so I can show you who you were always designed to be. You no longer need to live fragmented, one part soft, the other strong, one part surrendered, the other hiding. Let me make you one, integrated, aligned. True. That's what becoming is, not doing more, being whole. So now let's talk about what wholeness feels like. Because the world has sold you counterfeits, they told you wholeness is productivity without pause, confidence without questions, power without vulnerability, visibility without accountability. But I tell you, wholeness is found in peace that surpasses understanding, joy that doesn't rely on circumstances, freedom that doesn't need to perform, authority that flows from authenticity. You've tried the world's way. It left you empty, overcommitted, undernourished, deeply needed but rarely known. But my way leads to restoration. And in restoration, there is no rush, no race, only rhythm. So walk slowly now, not because you're behind, but because you're walking with me. Feel the weight lift as you stop performing. Feel the freedom return as you stop managing perceptions. Feel the joy awaken as you stop silencing your soul. This is what it means to walk in wholeness, to live loved, to live light, to live led. And from that place, everything shifts. You'll hear me clearer, not because I'm speaking louder, but because the noise is fading. You'll discern with wisdom, not through paranoia, but through presence. You'll act with purpose, not from pressure, but from peace. And yes, the people around you will notice. They'll feel the difference. They'll sense the calm in your eyes, the depth in your words, the ease in your spirit. Some will be drawn to it, some will resist it, because healed people confront the parts of others that have been left unattended. But don't let that discourage you. Stay grounded. Stay soft. You don't have to explain the work I'm doing in you to those who haven't encountered me the way you have. Your fruit will speak. Your freedom will echo. Your peace will testify. You don't owe anyone your exhaustion anymore. You don't have to shrink to fit places you've outgrown. You are not obligated to keep watering gardens that wither your soul. I'm giving you new spaces now. Not louder rooms and truer ones, where your voice doesn't need to shout to be heard, where your softness is not mistaken for weakness, where your discernment is honored, not dismissed, where you are not just used, you are loved. Yes, I'm bringing people into your life who will carry your heart with honor, people who won't need your platform to value your presence, people who won't require performance to offer connection. These are the covenant ones. The ones who carry oil, the ones who speak life, the ones who confirm what I've whispered in secret. I am realigning your circle, because what I'm building through you cannot thrive in counterfeit community. You're no longer called to keep peace at the expense of your purpose. And no, that doesn't mean you stop loving people. It means you stop abandoning yourself to be loved. You are not selfish for protecting what I've healed. You are not rebellious for walking away from what I never assigned. You are not disloyal for creating space to breathe again. Some doors are closing quietly, and that's me. Some voices are fading. That's me. Some appetites are changing. That's me. Let them. Let the shift come. Let the silence stay. I do holy work in silence. In the hush after heartbreak. In the stillness after surrender. In the breath between endings and beginnings. Because that's where identity is refined. Not in motion, but in rest. So rest again. Rest in the truth that you don't have to know what's next to be held in what is now. I am here, fully, completely, tenderly. This next season is not about climbing, it's about rooting. And the deeper the roots go, the higher the fruit grows. I'm not just raising your voice, I'm deepening your virtue. I'm not just increasing your reach, I'm securing your rhythm. Because the anointing I've placed on you must rest on a life that is at rest in me. Let me give you that rest. Let me teach you that quiet is not lack, it is leverage. That slowness is not a setback, it is sacred preparation. That hiddenness is not rejection, it is protection. I am not punishing you with pause, I am preparing you with presence. So breathe deep, my child. The becoming has begun. Not in grand displays, but in silent, steady transformation. You are not waiting to be used. You are walking in the revelation that you are already valuable, even when no one is watching. And from this place of beloved identity, wholeness, and divine peace, you will begin to shine. My beloved child, now that you are walking in your becoming, I want to speak to you about the rise I have prepared. A rise that will look nothing like the world's version of elevation. This is not the rise of striving, of climbing, of exhausting ascents. This is the rise of rested authority. The rise of someone who no longer seeks validation to feel valuable. The rise of someone who is not performing for purpose, but walking in it. The rise of someone who has nothing to prove and everything to pour. You see, the world honors noise, but I move in silence. The world rewards speed, but I anoint stillness. And now that your roots have gone deep, you are ready to rise, not by your hand, but by mine. Let me say this clearly. What I'm raising in you is not temporary, and it's not fragile. Because I did not build it on personality, I built it on presence. And where my presence dwells, my power flows, effortlessly, beautifully, undeniably. This rise won't come with self-promotion because I will be your announcement. You won't need to convince others of what I've done in you. Your peace will preach louder than any platform ever could. There will be moments when doors open before you even knock. When conversations shift simply because you walked into the room. When others feel seen just by your stillness. Comforted by your calm, healed by your honesty. That's what happens when your presence is saturated with mine. You become a dwelling place, not just for my spirit, but for my compassion, my kindness, my glory. And no, this is not about being known. This is about being sent. I am not sending you to be impressive. I am sending you to be effective, to speak what others won't say, to stay when others leave. To release peace where chaos once ruled. To shift atmospheres, not with volume, but with virtue. I've raised you slowly, and because I was doing something sacred, and what's sacred cannot be rushed. You may have felt overlooked. You may have wondered if your yes was forgotten. You may have questioned if your surrender was even seen. But now I tell you, I saw every moment, every yes in secret. Every unseen sacrifice, every quiet surrender, every time you chose faith over fear, integrity over image, obedience over outcome. I've counted them all, and I have not forgotten. And now the season is shifting. No, you won't need to chase after it, it's coming to you. I am calling forth what I planted in you, not the version the world celebrated, but the one I've cultivated in the shadows. This rise will not deplete you. It will fulfill you because this time it's not coming through force. It's flowing through alignment. Your assignment will not feel like striving. It will feel like breathing. And the oil that now rests on you, it was not purchased through fame. It was crushed from your faithfulness. Every breaking birthed something weighty. Every valley deepened your virtue. Every wilderness made room for wonder. You didn't just survive. You were shaped, and now you carry something eternal. Something I can trust. So let's speak plainly about the next steps. Not all will understand your rhythm. That's okay. Not all will applaud your choices. That's okay. You've stopped building for applause. You're building for assignment. Let them misunderstand. Let them question. Let them speak. They don't have to see it for me to send it. You don't need their confirmation. You already carry my commission, and I am leading you now in a new cadence, a pace not dictated by the urgent, but by the holy. You'll no longer move out of obligation, but out of overflow. You'll no longer attach your identity to what you produce. You'll no longer measure your progress by how full your calendar is. Your calendar does not define your calling. I do. And I am not interested in how full your schedule is. I am interested in how open your heart is. This rise requires intimacy, not industry. So stay close to me. Let the oil continue to flow, not just for what you do, but for who you are becoming. Because this version of you, the one who walks slow, breathes deep, speaks when led, and moves when stirred, this is the one I'm raising. And I'm not raising you for stages. I'm raising you for spaces. Sacred spaces. The hospital room. The family table. The voice memo sent at just the right moment. The stranger you greet with compassion. The lonely soul who sees you and senses my love. These are the spaces I'm sending you into. With power, with peace, with purpose. This is where my glory flows, not always where the lights shine, but where hearts open. Do not limit your impact to visibility. Visibility is not fruitfulness. Obscurity does not mean irrelevance, and influence is not measured in metrics, but in the movements of the Spirit. So here's what I want you to remember. You don't have to strive for what I've already ordained. You don't have to market what I'm about to multiply. Just remain faithful. Keep your heart pure. Keep your hands open. Keep your pace led. Because this rise is not a sprint, it's a release. A release of all that was sown in suffering. A release of all that was hidden in holiness. A release of glory, not attached to your name but to mine. Let me remind you, I don't raise you to exalt you. I raise you to reflect me. And as I elevate you, your voice will carry tenderness, not arrogance. Your power will carry humility, not pride. Your presence will carry healing, not hierarchy. Because the world doesn't need more personalities, it needs more presence. And you, my child, are a carrier of presence now. This is your rise. Slow, steady, sacred. You don't need to orchestrate it. Just say yes, again, and again, and again, and I will do the rest. My beloved child, now that the rise has begun, now that the stillness within you has become more familiar than the noise outside you, I want to speak to you about something sacred. Glory. Not the kind the world chases, not the kind that demands attention, not the kind that fades as quickly as it comes. I'm speaking of my glory, the eternal kind. The kind that rests, not roars. The kind that transforms atmospheres, not with volume, but with weight. Because glory, my child, is not loud. It's heavy. It doesn't glitter. It settles. And now I'm preparing you to carry it, not just to encounter it in moments, but to host it in your life. This is the weight I give to those who have been emptied of self so they can be filled with me. You've been emptied of pride, of pressure, of pretense. Now I'm filling you with substance. You are not just healed, you are hallowed for habitation. You've made room in the places where fear once lived, and I am coming to fill that room with myself. You no longer need to beg for anointing. You are walking in it. Because you allowed me to touch what was hidden, I am now clothing you with what is holy. But hear me clearly. My glory cannot rest where ego rules. This is why I spent time removing the lies, the performances, the false identities, because I never wanted to pour eternal oil into a vessel shaped by fear. You are no longer building a life from the outside in. You're building from the inside out. And that kind of life, one rooted in truth, nourished by presence, sustained by peace, that's the kind I trust with my glory. So now I will give you access. Not just access to opportunity, access to my heart. You will begin to discern not just what I'm doing, but why. You'll sense when to speak and when to stay silent. You'll feel me pull you back even when others are pushing you forward. You'll know what looks good but lacks my breath. Because glory isn't just about power, it's about purity. And the ones who carry it must be clean, not in performance, but in posture. Your posture is what I'm after. Your ability to yield when it's inconvenient, to trust when it's costly, to move when you'd rather wait, and to wait when you're being pushed to move. This is where spiritual authority grows, in surrender, not in status. So let me speak into the kind of authority I'm forming in you now. It will not make you dominant. It will make you deep. It will not make you louder. It will make you clearer. It will not push you into performance. It will pull you into presence, because I am not raising performers. I'm raising priests, those who know how to linger behind the veil, those who value whispers more than platforms, those who carry me into every room because they've carried me in the secret place first. This is you, not because you're perfect, mine, but because you've allowed me to purify. And now your life is an altar, not just your moments of prayer, but your decisions, your conversations, your interactions. All of it is worship, and I delight in that. So don't be surprised when things feel heavier. That's not a burden, that's weight. That's the glory resting. It will not crush you, because you are not carrying it alone. You were made to walk with me, not for me. This is the ease I promised. Not the absence of assignment, but the presence of alignment. When you walk in alignment, grace carries what grind never could. You've known the pressure of hustle. Now you'll know the ease of grace. You'll do more with less. You'll move slower, but see faster. You'll rest more and produce more, not by your strength, but by my spirit. Because this is not about acceleration for the sake of speed. It's about multiplication through surrender, the kind that doesn't exhaust you. It expands you. This is what I've reserved for those who stayed hidden when it would have been easier to be seen. This is what I'm releasing to those who chose healing over hype. This is the portion of those who let me undo them before I use them. So let me speak into what's next, because I know you sense it. The stirring, the shifts, the slow but steady movement beneath the surface. You're right. Things are changing, but not just around you, within you. You're not just entering a new season, you're becoming a new vessel. And this vessel, shaped by stillness, sealed with surrender, secured by my word, will carry revival. Not the kind that simply stirs emotion, the kind that awakens identity. You will carry truth that exposes, but also heals. You will carry love that confronts, but also restores. You will carry power that does not intimidate, but invites. Because true revival doesn't start in rooms. It starts in hearts, and yours has become a sanctuary, not because you've mastered it, but because you let me inhabit it. This is why I can trust you now, not because you're flawless, but because you're faithful. And faithful ones are who I use when the world is searching for realness. So don't dilute your message to be more palatable. Don't shrink your presence to make others comfortable. Don't soften your discernment to stay included. You're not here to fit in. You're here to carry glory. And glory carriers always walk differently. They aren't obsessed with outcomes. They're anchored in obedience. They don't chase opportunity. They respond to invitation. They don't depend on applause. They move to the rhythm of my voice. So here it is again, my voice, speaking to you plainly. You are ready, not because you feel ready, but because I have made you ready, and you will not miss your moment. Because I am not sending you out uncertain. I am sending you filled with peace, filled with wisdom, filled with fire. Not the kind that burns you out, but the kind that keeps your altar lit when others go cold. This is not just a rise. This is a commissioning. You are not just released from what once held you. You are released into what I have long prepared for you. So go, my child. Not in haste, but in holiness. Not to perform, but to dwell. You carry the weight of glory now, but you walk in the ease of grace. And in that tension, that holy balance, I will do what only I can do. My beloved child, now that you've received the commissioning, now that you are rising in the ease of grace and the weight of glory, I must speak to you about something often overlooked, sustainability. Because what I've healed, I do not want you to revisit through habits that wounded you again. What I've spoken over you, I want you to walk out. Not in one emotional moment, not in a single mountaintop experience, but in the daily rhythm of being mine. Let me say it simply. This healing must now become your lifestyle. You've tasted the restoration. Now let's build your life around it. Because true healing doesn't end in a prayer. It begins in a rhythm that says, I return to presence, not panic. I reach for truth before reaction. I abide even when the world accelerates. You no longer live from striving. You live from staying, and what you stay in will determine what you grow in. Stay in me. Stay in my word. Not as routine, but as revelation. Stay in the quiet, not as retreat, but as alignment. Stay in the pace I've set, not hurried, not held back, but holy. Let's talk about pace now, because what I'm doing through you will require precision, not pressure. I am not rushing you. I am teaching you to walk in step with my spirit, to know when to pause, even when the world says press forward, to know when to speak, even when the silence feels safer, to know when to say no, not out of fear, but out of focus. Because purpose is preserved by boundaries. You've learned to say yes to everything, thinking that obedience meant overextension. But I am not glorified by your burnout. I am glorified by your bearing fruit. And fruit is not produced in chaos. It grows in order. So let me help you guard what I've planted. This healing, it is holy. This voice, it is sacred. This discernment, it is costly. Don't cast it before crowds who crave performance but reject presence. Not everyone is meant to handle what you carry. And that's not rejection, that's refinement. Even Jesus chose who to take up the mountain. Even I walked away from crowds to tend to one heart at a time. And now, I am giving you permission to do the same. You no longer owe everyone access to your inner courts. Access is not proof of love. Discernment is. You are not called to rescue, you are called to respond. Not every burden is yours to carry. Not every crisis is your assignment. Not every invitation is a commission. Let me lead you in this, because pace and place matter to me. Where you go, when you go, who you go with, and most importantly, why. I'm not sending you back into chaos. I'm sending you forward into clarity. Clarity about your time. Clarity about your calling. Clarity about your capacity. And that clarity will become your compass when old patterns try to return. When shame knocks again, clarity will answer. When urgency creeps back in, peace will speak louder. When you feel the pull to disappear again, love will hold you steady. Because now you're living from a healed place. You know the signs of your soul better now. You recognize the difference between stretching and striving. You sense when your sensitivity is being drained instead of honored. You understand when your spirit is full and when it needs tending. This is maturity, not in how much you do, but in how well you abide. So let me walk with you here. Let me teach you how to guard your days, not with rigidity, but with reverence. Each day is an altar. Each decision is an offering. Each word spoken is a seed. Let me help you tend them well. And when the unexpected comes, when the familiar ache tries to knock on your door, let it find a different you standing there. A you that no longer tolerates what once tormented you. A you that no longer bends to the urgency of others. A you that knows silence is not shame. It's strategy. You have nothing to prove. You are not the sum of what you produce. You are the evidence of what I've healed. And because of that, your peace will now do the talking. You'll walk into rooms and disarm tension without a word. You'll stand in the presence of conflict and stay whole. You'll discern when to respond and when to rest, because you are no longer led by wounds. You are led by wisdom. This is what it means to live healed. You don't just know truth, you walk in it. You don't just experience freedom, you maintain it. And maintaining freedom is not about fear, it's about faithfulness. Faithfulness in your thoughts. Faithfulness in your habits. Faithfulness in what you feed your soul. Yes, feed it well. Feed it silence over noise. Scripture over speculation. Truth over trends. Worship over worry. Joy over judgment. You've fed your soul famine long enough. It's time for feasting now. Feast on my goodness. Not just when everything is going well, but when life feels ordinary. Because I am in the ordinary. In the quiet cup of water. In the early morning breeze. In the long conversations with me that don't need to be eloquent, just honest. I'm not asking for more performance, I'm asking for presence. Let that be your daily posture now, not a heart running toward perfection, but a heart wide open saying, "Here I am again, Lord, still yours, still available, still listening." I will meet you there, and in the meeting I will multiply, because that's what I do with faithful hearts. I multiply their reach, their rest, their revelation, not for their glory, for mine, because healed lives become whole legacies. You are not just being restored for today, you are being positioned to rewrite what's possible for those coming after you. Your wholeness is permission. It tells others, you don't have to stay broken to be useful. You don't have to hide to be accepted. You can be known. You can be free. So walk with me in this new way. Let your days become dwelling places. Let your thoughts become temples. Let your life become a resting place for my presence. This, child, this is the rhythm of the healed. Not loud, not hurried, not heavy, just consistent, just still, just real. And from that place, I will send you again. But you will never leave my side. Because this time, you don't go to represent me. You go to reveal me. My beloved child, now that your lifestyle has aligned with healing, now that rest is no longer foreign and presence is your compass, let me speak into what your walk carries now, because you are not simply walking for your sake anymore. You are walking for others who don't yet know it's possible. Your very presence will begin to shift things, not because of who you are in yourself, but because of who you carry. This is spiritual authority, not authority to dominate, not authority to control, but authority to restore, to enter places that have been dry and leave them watered, to walk into conversations that are heavy and leave them lifted. to stand in tension and bring peace, not just opinions. You carry that now, not because of ambition, not because of image, but because you allowed me to go to the core of you and heal the places where power and purity meet. This is what others will feel when they encounter you. My weight wrapped in your kindness, my clarity clothed in your humility, my nearness expressed in your authenticity. You will not need to announce it. The air will shift when you walk in rooms because your heart is anchored, and hearts that are anchored in me carry influence beyond anything the world can fabricate. Let me show you how this works. You won't always need to correct with words. Your presence will reveal what's misaligned. You won't always need to preach. Your posture will speak louder than your language. You won't always need to explain the process. Your peace will become the evidence of my promises fulfilled. Others will feel safe with you, not because you're perfect, but because your heart is pure. They will feel seen, not because you know everything, but because you carry the one who sees all. I am sending you now not as a fixer, but as a fountain, a place of refreshing, a place where others come and remember what it feels like to rest. You will not only speak healing, you will host it, not through formulas but through presence. Your stillness will be prophetic, your boundaries will be intercession, your silence will be sanctuary. And when you open your mouth, people will know, this is not from her, this is from him, because you will speak from overflow, not from need. You will no longer need to impress anyone. You will no longer need to prove your place. You will no longer measure impact by visibility. You will measure by faithfulness, and I will call you fruitful. So don't be surprised when I begin to entrust you with more, not because you climbed ladders, but because you stewarded depth, not because you grew an audience, but because you made space for me, and I will multiply what has been nurtured in hiddenness, because I don't multiply hype, I multiply humility. Now hear me, child. This multiplication will not always look like you imagined. It will come gently, quietly, sometimes through people you didn't expect, sometimes through places you thought you had closed, but it will always carry my fingerprint. Peace will accompany it. Alignment will surround it. There will be no striving in it. Just flow. Let's talk about flow now, because I am not interested in bursts of anointing that leave you drained. I'm interested in sustained flow, a flow that starts in the secret place and spills into the world with ease, a flow that begins in rest and overflows into revelation, a flow that doesn't push or pull but abides. This is the river that flows from the throne, the river of living water, and you, my beloved, are planted by it now. Your roots are deep enough to draw from me daily. Even when circumstances shift, even when emotions fluctuate, even when you feel unseen again. Because now you know, you are never unknown. You belong to me. And I have called you not just to walk, but to walk with power. Power that restores. Power that discerns. Power that serves without losing its strength. Power that loves without losing its clarity. Because now your walk is not reactionary. It's revelatory. Every step you take is ordained. Even detours will lead to destiny. Even delays will be filled with purpose. Even what you didn't plan will be redeemed. So walk with me. Talk with me. Let me show you the places I've been preparing, not just in the world, but in you. And let me say this clearly. You will not return to old patterns. Not because you're trying harder, but because you've been made new. You no longer crave what used to numb you. You no longer feel drawn to what used to distract you. You no longer chase what used to define you. You are free, and freedom doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be lived. So live like you are loved, because you are. Live like you are secure because you are. Live like you are chosen because you always have been. And let your life become an invitation, not to religion, not to performance, but to presence. Because the world doesn't need another spiritual personality. It needs evidence. Evidence that I still heal, that I still speak, that I still dwell in the ones who make room, and you, child, are evidence. Let them see you, not as the one who has it all figured out, but as the one who let me in. Let them feel your freedom. Let them taste your peace. Let them glimpse my love through your life. This is the legacy I'm building, not through applause, but through abiding. And from your abiding, nations will drink. Generations will be marked. Lives will be changed, not by force, but by the overflow of your healing. You don't need to chase legacy. You just need to carry me, because I am your legacy, and I will be with you, not just in calling, but in companionship, even when it's quiet, even when it's lonely, even when no one claps, even when you're misunderstood. You will walk with me, and that will be enough, always. My beloved child, now that you've walked through the wilderness of woundedness into the wide spaces of healing, now that the whispers have become your compass and peace has become your pace, now that you walk not just for yourself but as one who carries my presence, let me speak these last words as a seal over everything we've journeyed through together. You are no longer the version of you who survived silently. You are no longer the one who hid in plain sight. You are no longer a reflection of your pain. You are a revelation of my goodness. And now, you are not just healed. You are whole. And wholeness, my child, is not perfection. Wholeness is integrity. When your inner life and your outer life finally say the same thing, it is the gentle strength that says, I don't have to pretend anymore. It is the quiet joy that says, I am loved, even in my process. It is the deep awareness that you are never alone, never abandoned, never unimportant. I've walked you into this place not just so you could feel better, but so you could live differently. And now that you do, now that your very breath carries stillness, your footsteps carry purpose, and your voice carries clarity, I want you to remember this. You are not just healed for healing's sake. You are healed for others' sake, because now your life is a message, not shouted but shown, in how you rest, in how you love, in how you wait, in how you listen, in how you stay. I'm sending you as a living letter, written not in ink, but in transformation. When they ask what changed, you will not have to give a sermon. You will simply say, I was seen, I was held, and I was healed. That will be enough. Because the real evidence of my work is not how loudly you testify, it's how peacefully you walk. And your peace will be the loudest sermon many will ever hear. Let them hear it in how you forgive without needing repayment, in how you serve without losing yourself, in how you lead without the need for applause, in how you carry weight without being weighed down. This is the beauty of the healed. They no longer chase. They carry. They carry wisdom with wonder. They carry conviction with compassion. They carry oil with humility. And you, my child, carry all of that now. So walk forward, not with hesitation, but with holy confidence. You are no longer bound by what broke you. You are no longer living for the crowd's confirmation. You are no longer swayed by the storm's suggestion. You are living from my word, and my word over you has not changed. You are mine. You are beloved. You are chosen. You are protected. You are powerful, not because you're loud, but because you're led. And as you walk, the fruit of this season will begin to bloom. You will see it in the softness that stays even when others are harsh. You will see it in the joy that returns even in hard days. You will see it in the people who now feel safe enough to be vulnerable around you. You will see it in the divine appointments that seem too perfectly timed to be coincidence. You will see it in the slow, steady unfolding of dreams you laid down but never forgot. I am the God who finishes what I start. And I have not just restored you, I have recommissioned you, not with a title, with truth. And the truth is this: you never had to become someone else to be used. You never had to perform strength to carry anointing. You never had to hide your softness to be safe. You were always enough, as you are, where you are, with what I placed in your hands. So now, child, lift your eyes. This is not the end of your healing. This is the beginning of your beholding. You will now behold me in places you used to rush past. You will sense me in the everyday. You will walk with me in the ordinary. And from there I will do extraordinary things. You will not burn out. You will not fade away. You will not live on empty, because you have learned the sacred secret that I am not your event. I am your everyday, and that's where miracles are born. That's where glory grows. That's where identity stays secure. So keep coming to me, not with long words, but with real presence. Keep letting me hold the real you, not just in crisis, but in communion. Let me walk with you through the mundane, the miraculous, the in-between. I'm not leaving you to figure it out. I will go before you. I will walk beside you. I will be your rear guard. You will not be taken out by the same things that used to undo you. You have been fortified from the inside out, and what I've built in you cannot be shaken. Now go, not to strive, but to shine. Not for approval, but from belovedness. Not to earn, but to enjoy. Not to prove done, but to pour. I have sealed you with my spirit. I have set you apart, and I will protect what I've planted in you. Now walk, slowly, confidently, joyfully, into the days ahead. You're not just healed, you're whole. You're not just free, you're filled. You're not just seen, you're sent. And where you walk, my glory will rest. Always. Amen.